Strap on your handhelds, things are about to get bloody. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 horror movies of the 2000s. For this list, we're looking at the films that terrified audiences in the new millennium, where torture porn reigned supreme, and fans were bombarded with remakes. Although 90s meta-horror was replaced with more parody during this time, we're excluding horror comedies like Zombieland and Shaun of the Dead. Yes! This is part of a series of videos spanning the decades of horror cinema from the 1920s to the 2000s.
If you ain't got a reason why you hate clowns, I'm gonna kill your whole f***ing family.
Number 10, Drag Me to Hell.
I'm scared.
Our first pick gave us the very long-awaited return of Sam Raimi to the genre that gave him his humble beginnings with Evil Dead.
Sylvia, get us! Choke on it, bitch!
The idea came from a script he'd been working on with his brother Ivan throughout the decade during which he was working on the Spider-Man trilogy. This morality tale follows a young loan officer who regrettably refuses an extension to an old gypsy woman, who in turn puts a curse on her so that she will be dragged into hell in 3 days.
Soon it will be you who comes begging to me.
The director more than delivers all the nasty fun you'd expect from him. Number 9, Let the Right One In. With Nordic noir thrillers on the rise, audiences were not surprised when Jan Ajvide Lindqvist, Sweden's answer to Stephen King, became an overnight sensation.
Really? Gå! Försvinn!
There was also no doubt that his screenplay, based on his own novel, was gonna be a hit. But it didn't only become a hit, it took the world by storm.
Är du vampyr?
Jag lever på blod.
The big screen adaptation of his atmospheric tale of a young bullied boy who befriends a young vampire was an immense critical and box office success, winning plenty of awards and immediately greenlighting an American remake. It plays less like a vampire movie and more like a snowy Arctic fever dream, though it's still got plenty of horror elements as well. Number 8, The Ring. During a decade that was drowning in terrible American remakes, this gem easily stood out, mostly because of the talent behind it. With the brilliant director who'd be behind the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, and future Oscar-nominated Naomi Watts in the lead role, you had a surefire hit.
7 days.
A psychological horror flick about a vengeful ghost who uses a videotape to kill her victims. This is a movie that took everything that was already great about the original and built upon it.
It won't stop.
Well, that's why you're here.
More backstory, more human emotion, and more deadly thrills. Number 7, Own the Grudge.
Måste.
Continuing with the J-horror trend, Ju-On became the latest franchise to hit Western shores and cause a severe amount of nightmares. The story of an angry ghost with a grudge haunting a house and any of its inhabitants is nothing special, but the talent came from the approach and execution of each terrifying element. The Grudge used creativity in everything from its makeup effects, putting a twist on the traditional look of Japanese ghost, to lighting and sound design. This is the kind of growling we will never be able to unhear. Number 6, Dawn of the Dead. Here we have another remake that did not insult the original. If you take away the franchise from the granddad of zombie films, George A. Romero, you better put it in worthy hands. Enter the visionary Zack Snyder. After a million zombie flicks, what do you do differently? Make sure it doesn't lack brains, human emotion, and a non-stop barrage of scares. Add in an all-star cast including acclaimed indie star Sarah Polley, and make sure it truly is entertaining, especially with a shocking apocalyptic opening that grabs you by the throat, and you've got this critical and commercial hit.
Louis, what are you doing?
Number 5. Final Destination.
Death has a new design for all of you.
Amid the slasher craze, New Line Cinema took it one step further and turned death itself into the antagonist. Based on an abandoned X-Files script idea, the twisted story follows a group of teens that narrowly escapes a fatal plane explosion.
Oh shit!
Well, Death is feeling cheated and decides to kill them off anyway in bizarre Rube Goldberg-like ways. With a villain you never see, a cruel moral to the story of never being able to escape death, and some of the most creative cinematic kills, this box office smash gets major props from the horror community.
So who's next?
Number 4. Paranormal Activity. The YouTube era of horror cinema and its handheld cameras came to life with this box office breakthrough. When someone's, quote, real 10-second footage of his door moving on its own became more terrifying than a 2-hour slasher film, director Oren Peli knew he'd struck gold. An incredibly small budget is all he needed to create this nightmarish voyeuristic experience, as we watch the footage of a young couple trying to catch the ghostly activity in their house on film.
Will you stop following me with the camera?
Although minimalistic in style, this is one film you do not want to watch alone at night.
Mika! 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 Mika!
Number 3. 28 Days Later.
It was a virus. An infection.
Like Stanley Kubrick before him, Danny Boyle is the kind of prolific director that likes playing with different genres. After the major successes of Trainspotting and The Beach, he set his eyes on horror, and boy did he leave his mark. A different take on the zombie film, 28 Days Later is an apocalyptic contagion masterpiece with a brilliant narrative, haunting opening sequence, and devastating scenarios, featuring the breakthrough performance of a young Cillian Murphy. While the virus in question is turning people into violent mutating creatures, it turns us into a blubbering mess behind the couch. Number 2. Wreck.
Mira!
We're starting to see a pattern. Take an established theme, put it in some very talented hands, and watch something refreshing come to life.
A ver, que nadie se mueva de aquí, ¿eh? ¿Vale? Bueno, y tú deja de grabar de una puta vez, joder.
Rising Spanish horror directors Paco Plaza and Jaume Balagueró brought the found footage style to a zombie virus outbreak and gave the world this dizzying roller coaster ride in which we trail a news crew that has been following the fire department. It all seems like a boring night until they're locked up in a tenement building where the residents are starting to get a little violent and a little undead. Before we reveal our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
You don't have to do it.
You say it with me. house.
Hello, Amanda.
Number 1. Saw.
I want to play a game.
The one that started it all. Although torture porn became huge thanks to the Saw films, the original independent feature has little to do with its insanely bloody and unnecessarily complicated sequels.
Thank you for that information, Zeb.
Saw was more a detective thriller than torture porn, more psychological torture than bodily torture. The complex puzzle and mystery behind these two men stuck in a room with a dead body plays out more like a demented Samuel Beckett play.
What we need to do is start thinking about why we're here.
Still, there are tons of cringeworthy moments, from a brilliant script that keeps you guessing to a jaw-dropping ending you will never forget.
Most people are so ungrateful to be alive. But not you. Not anymore.
Do you agree with our list?
Okay.
Hungry for more? Which 2000s horror classic tortured you the way you like? For more thrilling top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Game over.